Meantime, we are watching phase one of the Gaza peace deal play out in real time, with hundreds of thousands of Palestinians now heading home after being displaced to the southern part of the country for months. Now, the true test of if this peace will hold comes down to the release of the remaining Israeli hostages, alive or dead. The entire deal hinges on those hostages being released in the next 72 hours. President Trump optimistic phase one will go smoothly.
Getting them is a complicated process. I'd rather not tell you what they have to do to get them. There are places you don't want to be, but we are getting the hostages back on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and that'll be a day of joy.
But many unknowns remain for what happens once phase one is complete, including how Hamas will disarm and who will lead Gaza into the future. Libby Dean is live for us outside of the White House. So, Libby, we are now hearing U.S. boots could be on the ground to help facilitate this deal.
Yeah, a bit unclear there, Nichole. We're learning, though, more today about how involved the U.S. forces will actually be in monitoring this ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. And the White House is actually pushing back on some of this early reporting that may have overstated U.S. troops' role in all of this. A senior White House official that I spoke to told me it's possible some of the U.S. personnel overseeing this implementation of the peace deal end up on the ground in Israel. So they're not ruling it out there, but also not giving this definitive yes to more boots on the ground there in the region. Now, the White House press secretary also talking about this, saying the 200 U.S. personnel already stationed with CENTCOM, that's Central Command, will be tasked with monitoring the peace agreement in Israel, and they will work with other international forces on the ground. That's the White House press secretary clarifying all of this reporting. Not all of those 200 troops, though, will be on the ground in Israel if this takes place. Some may be, but others will assist from afar. The U.S. will also be coordinating with those international partners who are already in the region as a part of this overall mission and this overall overseeing of the implementation of this peace deal. While there is already that U.S. military personnel stationed in Israel, this potential additional deployment would be specifically aimed at overseeing the implementation of phase one of the Gaza peace plan, whether that's on the ground or remotely. Nichole, it still remains a little unclear here as we await more clarity from the White House and the president himself. Nichole.
So waiting some more details. Troops from which other countries, though, are expected to be part of this multinational monitoring force?
Yeah, Nichole, the U.S. is going to be coordinating with those international partners who are already in the region as a part of this mission. And one thing the White House has really made clear is if those U.S. forces do end up on the ground in Israel, they would not enter into Gaza. That is what the White House has said. Now, instead, we do know that Egyptian and Qatari forces are among those who will be aiding in this enforcement effort. That's among others that we are expecting to join in that effort. And today, the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, he welcomed the Qatari defense minister at the Pentagon, saying this.
You have been a core part of what has unfolded in Gaza, a historic moment. No one other than President Trump could have achieved the peace that what we believe will be a lasting peace in Gaza. And Qatar played a substantial role from the beginning, working with our folks to ensure that came about. So I want to thank you for that.
So we'll see how this evolves in the region. Of course, a lot up in the air right now. But of course, we're tracking, Nichole, President Trump's upcoming trip to the Middle East. That's going to take place in the coming days. We're learning now he will stop in Israel first, and then he'll stop in Egypt. But a really key trip and a key deal for President Trump as we await more details on the U.S.'s involvement in enforcement. Nichole.
Absolutely. All right. Libby Dean live for us there at the White House. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.